Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review we're going to be looking at the Legacy United. This is one part of the Doom and Destruction box set. This is Windsweeper. So in this video we're going to have a detailed look at him in both of his modes, help you decide how you want to display him. We'll do a comparison with the original owner of the mold. We'll bring in another one of the trigger cons, which are of course from the Generation 1 figures, which I've got the original Windsweeper as well, so we can do a comparison with him. And although this is only going to be focusing on actual Windsweeper, I can still bring in Prime Universe breakdown just to see how they do look together. So as you can see, loads to get through in this video. So as I start to pop all these away, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to the channel, if they'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. And we also need to have a look at the artwork on the box, because it is beautiful. So excuse the glare coming back off it. It's so good. It's just a brilliant, I suppose, representation of how he looked in Generation 1. I like the fact that they're calling this the Doom and Destruction. That looks to be the logo for these, I suppose, particular gift sets. There's a couple of these and there's more coming out soon as well. There's some brilliant artwork there for breakdown and indeed for Windsweeper. Now I've just learned something myself. I didn't realize that they'd called these by their given them actual names. So you've got Decepticon, Clean Sweep and Ozone. And these are, I suppose, they're like, well, they are zigzag, aren't they? They're the painted versions from I've forgotten his name, Needle Nose. But obviously with the original Windsweeper figure, he had the guns, but he didn't have they weren't individual little bots. So these are just exactly the same as they were with Needle Nose. They're just painted in a silver colour. So let's have a look at these. To be fair, so unfortunately there's no articulation on them whatsoever, but what you have got is multiple points on the back where you can connect these two. So I suppose these could be classed as a bit of a bonus because unfortunately with the trigger cons, which is what these are, they don't have the original gimmick. Now the original gimmick I think was brilliant, to be honest. If you have a look at this, this is the original Generation 1 Windsweeper figure, and if I can get the two together like that, in fact what I need to do is fire out the guns. So this is why they were called trigger cons, because you press the trigger and as you can see they swung out and indeed fired or swung out their weapons so they could use them, which is again very basic, but I'm sure you'll agree it looked good. But also the homage to this is fantastic, right down to the yellow in the wings and the cockpit. The sticker detail or the tampograph detail on here is pretty much bang on. And of course you don't have to have these, so again you could have it looking exactly like just the basic jet. And there's loads of other brilliant similarities as well, which we'll have a look at when we come to doing the robot mode. But you can just see there, I suppose, how clever it is. And to be honest, you've probably already seen the transformation process on this online. So it is exactly the same as Needle Nose, and it is quite good, nice and satisfying. You could take the back off as well if you wanted to, but again we'll have a look at that in a little more detail in the second part. So there is a Voyager class Starscream, which is huge compared to this. I've got another couple of deluxe figures here to give you an idea of size, and a nice small, oh, just nearly knocked it over, Jeep as well there from Jurassic Park. So to be honest, as I say, the only other thing to really tell you is because it is 5mm ports on the underside of there, you could attach more weapons to it if you wanted to. It looks like there's a couple of choices where you want to pop them. You could also, again, if you wanted to, you would probably need a stand though. In fact, I know probably about it, you would need a stand to have them, to have him elevated to be able to display like that. The other unfortunate thing is if you do that, you can see their faces, so that probably in honesty isn't the best idea. It's better to attach them to the wings where we've got the correct attachments. So there you go, nothing more to say about this particular mode. Let's come back and have a look at him in his robot mode. Okay, then back for the final time with him in his robot mode, and as I've already said, and you've probably already seen it, his transformation process is separate due to keeping the main length of the video down and not to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want to see it. So the robot mode itself, to be honest, it looks really good. Now you probably just noticed I've just, well, not corrected, I've had to adjust this. In all honesty, with my particular copy, sometimes if the tiny bit of pressure on the back just separates this from there. Now it's not too detrimental, but I just wanted to be super honest because that's exactly what's happening. Now the instructions, because it comes in a 2-pack, it's both of them, one on each page, which I think is brilliant. And I also very quickly need to thank Hasbro Pulse, because that's where they came from, and they came to me nice, quickly and safely. Now this is what I wanted to show you because it's brilliant. Look at the homage here. Look at the head sculpt there of the original Generation 1 figure and the head sculpt of the update. It's brilliant. This silver is so shiny as well. It's borderline like chrome, which is fantastic. The colour scheme is only slightly different to this, but again, the things at the back, this is my only little bugbear, which was exactly the same with needle nose, to be honest. I just wish we could have, perhaps they could have put an extra hinge in there just to collapse it or fold it up a little bit more, and then it would be even more like the Generation 1 original, to be honest. That unfortunately won't go any further back than that either, but that's, we're not looking to review that figure. But what you can do with this is, this isn't in the instructions, but you can actually take this off. Now exactly what for, I'm not too sure, but let's be honest, if it's got a 5mm port, you could probably, well, you can attach it. I'm just working out, I don't think it'll look good as a gun, but maybe if you spin it round, you could perhaps pretend that that was like a crossbow or something. And of course these will of course double up as what we know as target masters, even though it's just, again, to replicate. I wonder if you could pop that there. Yeah, you could, but again, maybe that's, no, it doesn't really do anything for it. You can just take it off if you wanted to, which may cause problems in the future, because you may be watching this in 10-20 years time and it's probably one of the most commonly lost pieces of, I suppose, of this particular figure. Right, before we have a look at the articulation and stuff on this, again, I want to do a very quick comparison with the original. And again, this is where the original has this brilliant gimmick where you press the buttons, and again, hence them being called trigger cons. So you can see now what the comparison is with that, and indeed what the idea was. It was just a shame that they didn't actually have that gimmick. Same with crankcase, in honesty, I was a bit disappointed that we didn't have that gimmick. Here is the original owner of the mold, so this is Needle Nose, and again, great figure. What's really good is these, I suppose, are quite, I won't say obscure, people do know them, but you know, they're nowhere nearly as popular as some of the main characters that we've had quite a few releases of. I was just looking at it and seeing if there's any difference apart from the head sculpt, and I can't see any others. If there is any more and I've missed, please do let me know in the comments, and then I can always correct myself. But yeah, the head sculpt is the only thing I can see at the moment that looks different apart from the obvious paint scheme. Right, let's just move him out of the way. Now, unfortunately, again, because it is the needle nose mold, you've got huge gaps in the back of these. But of course, remember, you do need these because that's what folds over during the transformation. However, they could have perhaps done something a bit like, is it Blitzwing? I think Blitzwing's the figure that, and even the Seekers, let's be honest, the Seekers have got spring-loaded things here. The Tetrajets, rather, that you fold over and it compresses in. I don't know, maybe that wasn't or couldn't fit in the deluxe price point. Of course, the Tetrajets were all Voyager. However, the articulation, see, that's just come out again. You can turn the head pretty much, yeah, you can get it all the way around. There is a ability to look slightly up and down. The shoulders will give you a full T, and you can, which I think is brilliant, you can adjust the wings as well, so you can get it all the way around. Granted, you've got to adjust it slightly, but you can go all the way around, barring the restriction there. There's a swivel underneath the shoulder blade. There's a double bicep flexion. It will come right the way over, because again, that is for transformation purposes. There is a, is there a waist swivel? I'm sure there is. Yep, there's a waist swivel. The ab crunch isn't really an ab crunch, it's just the hips moving. The legs, again, will do splits, but in fact, they'll go past the point of splits. They will go full Van Damme Bloodsport on chairs, right up like that, to be honest. And then, of course, they can go the other way as well, as long as it's not restricted. So again, it's a case of perhaps slightly adjusting to give yourself the splits that way. But this really does show off how hollow the figure is. But I don't, things like that don't bother me. They get out of jail for these. Same as in the forearms for me, is can I see it from the front? The answer is no. So for me, I'm not too bothered. Once again, though, it'd be nice if they could have folded this up, because it does sort of protrude through the back. So you've got a swivel as well at the hip, a knee bend, and loads of posability with the ankle tilt and rock as well. With regards, I suppose, to some mainline figures, that's the missing link. I said mainline, I put the missing link in, I didn't mean that. This one's Earthrise, but the Netflix version, so you can see, yeah, a bit smaller than, of course, Voyager class. I'll bring in, I've already brought him in, but I'll bring him in quickly again, side by side. Smaller deluxe class. Funnily enough, I've got a Tetrajet here as well, and it's not much bigger. It's not much bigger considering it's a Voyager, and that's what I was referring to. Oh, this bit there, of course, with the back of the legs. Maybe they could have not got it in the price point. I don't really know. That's just me speculating. But it's quite a big deluxe figure, you know, compared to some. Obviously way bigger than your mini bot gears, etc. Let's move him out of the way. Let's put him back there very quickly, and also bring in, as I say, stay tuned for other videos with prime bulkhead, prime breakdown using the bulkhead mold. Obviously he will be up in reviews very soon. In fact, the last thing that I need to bring in, I nearly completely forgot, is crankcase. And of course we now know that Ruckus is coming too. This of course was a trigger con as well, and they try to replicate the trigger things on here, but it's nothing like, as I say, it's nothing like the originals where they did actually trigger out like so. There you go, guys. Nothing much more to say about this. To be honest, I think it's great. It's so good that he's got an update, and it's so good he's got an update at a deluxe class as well, because I think, again, they do need it. It's nice that we're getting all these bots, as I say, that I would class as near enough obscure, but nice that they're getting good updates. And of course it looks like we've got some extra characters as well thrown in with it. There you go. Nothing more to say about this. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. This is the Doom and Destruction Windsweeper figure. Oh, there you go. Let me know what you think in the comments. Take care.